Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR Today, Friday morning, September 24th, 2021. The man they call Meathead, the Gentleman Squire. Again, Matthew, I didn't know about it until just as I was going to say it. I'm like, wait, I called him something yesterday. What should I call him?
Yeah.
The Gentleman Squire. Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
2 days in a row. That's a trend. I think it's starting to stick.
You saw the description yesterday. I had Gentleman Squire laid out for you. So
absolutely. I like the sound of that. Good morning.
What kind of gentleman squire would wear collar and elbow? Is it Matthew Thomas, or is it all gentleman squires?
All gentleman squires. Only the most, elegant and classy gentleman squires is the answer to that question. And if you want to be outfitted in collar and elbow gear like this gentleman squire, you head on over to collarandelbowbrand.com, enter promo code Linda K, LINDAKAY. Get yourself all decked out in collar and elbow gear. It's the weather's turning a little bit cooler, so you're going to need to be wearing more clothes. So you need to buy more collar and elbow at collarandelbowbrand.com.
Okay. Hey, I want to talk about a few things. First off, let's talk about Dark Side of the Ring from last night. Mm-hmm. It was the Who Better Than Kanyon episode. The double life of Kanyon, Chris Kanyon. Let me be the first to say, I was a huge fan of Chris Kanyon. Some of the guest stars on this episode, the Young Bucks, Brian Cage, Chris Jericho, DDP, and Father James Mitchell, all over and over kept saying, Chris Kanyon doesn't get the credit he deserves for creating the kind of style that we have today. Multiple offense. His nickname was the innovator of offense when he was playing the Chris Kanyon character, when he was playing the Mortis character. Chris Kanyon is most notably known for creating the triple cage in Ready to Rumble and doing all the stunt work and actually doing all the work at the WCW movie. Michael Buffer, David Arquette, that whole movie. Chris Kanyon also known for, unfortunately, in 2010, committing suicide through medication, and he struggled the whole time with the fact that he was a gay wrestler, and at that time in the business, he felt that he would have lost his career if he would have came out as openly gay. Matthew Thomas, we're at 2021 now, and it's a different world. Obviously, we have transgender. We have, we've heard DDP say all these different things, and, right. All these guys different, mentions of how the world has kind of changed. You had Darren Young. You had, they were going to bring Orlando Jordan out as, gay for the first time. Matthew Thomas, your thoughts on Chris Kanyon, the wrestler, first, and then we'll kind of go down the show.
Yeah, I think where Dark Side of the Ring, I think where they do some of their best work is a lot of these stories that are not that well known. And of course, last week we had the Plane Ride from Hell, which is a fairly well known and very thoroughly discussed subject. Kanyon, outside of, the bullet points, I was not that familiar with Kanyon's story. And I thought they did an excellent job really going in depth into, the person and the lineage as far as the in-ring work goes. Some quick surprises here. Yeah, Jericho, DDP, that seems to be kind of expected. I had no idea of the
Jericho's been the voiceover for all their episodes.
Yeah, and you've had DDP, and of course DDP during his WCW run, that would make sense. But I had no idea.
I don't know if you remember that they were a 3-man group. It was Bam Bam, DDP, and Chris Kanyon.
What really surprised me was the relationship with Brian Cage and the Bucks. I did not expect to see either one of those on the program. And they did a really great job of the interviews they got for this. And as sad of a story as this was, you felt like they really wrapped it in as uplifting of a package as they could. Right. Whereas last week there was really nothing positive that you felt coming out of that, outside of the flight attendant talking about if she could possibly impact, a single person, she would do the interview over 25. She would do it 25 more times. You felt really bad for a lot of reasons coming out of last week's show. Yeah, you did this week as well too, but you felt like there was some optimism, and you felt like you got to see the Dark Side of the Ring crew really do what they do very well last night.
So let's kind of go through the show, and we'll touch on a couple spots here. One, I was very well. I mean, folks, my name is WCW Meathead, right? That was what I was watching. I was very aware of Mortis, and I was very aware of what his character was, which was a Mortal Kombat type character. His main feud was against Mr. Sub-Zero himself. It was Glacier. Matthew, you're a big fan of Glacier.
Yeah. And then this was when we were doing the Nitro recaps. I think that was right smack dab in the middle.
Oh, right in the middle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, we got teased for week after week with all that snow, and then little did we know years later it was gonna turn into Sting.
Turn into Sting because winter was coming. Yeah, I thought Glacier was showing up in AEW. I mean, we never knew. Like I said, Eric Bischoff, through DDP's words, said that he trusted Chris Kanyon very much. All the boys loved him because he did such good work in the ring, right? I did not realize that he did get a chance to work in the fabulous Moolah's ring.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. What a surprise there. Again, a connection that you never, you really talk about generation spanning. I mean, the 7 degrees of separation. We just had that
conversation at the beginning of before we went on the air, the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre conversation.
Yeah. I mean, you basically go from Moolah all the way down to the Bucks in this episode.
And then Mae Young just kicking the crap out of Chris Kanyon to pull his hair.
And ripping his hair out.
Right. And James Mitchell, Father James Mitchell, the sinister minister, saying, just take it. It's going to be worth it. It'll be okay. Why is this woman kick the crap out of me? What we did find out more so was Chris Kanyon was either bipolar or, I'm not a doctor. He wasn't diagnosed. Chris hasn't told us what he was, but there was something going on there. So he had very massive mood swings and at times came to blows with Father James Mitchell. And per James Mitchell's words, the sinister minister, Chris Kanyon was inches from choking the life out of him, squeezing down on his Adam's apple. And it got so bad that one instance in a hotel room, James Mitchell said he kept the 45 underneath the pillow if Kanyon never came at him again. Now, not to make light of this, but the reason he was in that hotel room and the reason he had the 45 and he thought Chris might come at him was Chris was worried about being caught for being a gay wrestler. Said, we're going to make a porno to show the boys. You're going to make a sex tape. You're going to leave my mask there and get a hooker or something. Well, Chris never showed, so Dr. James Mitchell went to town on the hooker, and they filmed that with the mask on.
So initially Kanyon was supposed to be in the film, correct?
Right, and James Mitchell was going to film it.
Okay. All right. I get because I was a little bit confused there in that whole exchange there.
His phrase was, "We let nature take its course," and well, you know what happened. So that means that he put the mask on and went to town.
So I thought his partner put the mask on, so it was actually him.
No, it was James Mitchell.
Okay, I need to go back and watch this again and get some clarification on it.
I don't want to watch that. So Kanyon was, most people forget this. Kanyon is recognized for his WCW work, right? He was a tag team champion with DDP and Bam Bam Bigelow in the Triad. Kanyon was the Alliance MVP when WCW and WWF at the time were going through the Alliance pay-per-view, right? There was the Alliance side, which was WCW and ECW, and then there was the WWF side. Kanyon was a tag team champion and a United States champion in WWE, all right? He's been on pay-per-view. He's worked. He's been there. He's made it to the top. He's working. Kanyon at one point gets hurt, struggles to get back because he was taking steroids, according to the show, and, had a really bad blood infection and lost some weight and came back. And then they put him in this gimmick. And I understand what his best friend, who now works for AEW, said. They said, there's no way WWE would have ever set him up like that. I'm calling bullshit. In 2002 or 3, whenever this happened with Chris Kanyon, he's going to debut in this big wooden box that looks like a closet. They're going to have him dressed like Boy George. come out and saying, "Do you really want to hurt me?" and get his ass whipped by the Undertaker. I'm calling bullshit. The Office did that to him on purpose.
And you got to look at it and just, from any type of angle and say, what kind of sense does this make to have somebody premiere like this? It feels really odd and uncomfortable now. And I mean, 2002, 2003, I can't imagine in any generation or era this type of premiere would have made sense or felt much more comfortable.
So after that, Kanyon was knocked down to the main event, to the main event TV tapings, or Shotgun Saturday Night, or Velocity, or whatever the show was called at that point. And Kanyon struggled with that, right? It was eventually released. And, Kanyon struggled a little bit, just like anybody would in that particular case. Any particular wrestler would in that case. WrestleMania 20, did not know the story. After Benoit had won the championship, Eddie Guerrero came out and hugged him. All the confetti's falling down. Apparently, after the cameras go off the air, Kanyon, who was sitting ringside, jumped in the ring and is just standing there going, "Who better than Kanyon?" Gets invited to the post-WrestleMania 20 party, allegedly goes up to Vince McMahon and goes, "Thanks for inviting me to the party, even though you fired me." Okay, pal. Wow.
You got to wonder how he still gets that party invite, though, after he's hopped in the ring after a pay-per-view when he's not employed with the company. It's your biggest. Right. I'm so intrigued by that. I need to do a little bit of digging around and find some more details, because I'm curious. Are we talking, 5 minutes after the show goes off the air? Are we talking
with
10
fans
minutes?
in the ring, or in the
Yeah. Is there any type of, you got to think WWE, left the tapes rolling after this. I mean, is there any type of raw footage of this? I'm really curious. Yeah, I'm just really curious by that whole, that whole type of deal.
Yeah, let's move on to the next thing that I'm calling bullshit on. Okay. Kanyon starts to befriend Howard Stern, and he's kind of a semi-regular, guest on the program. Comes out as being a gay wrestler, and he says, "Look, I think WWE cut me loose because I was a gay wrestler." They brought John Cena on. John Cena said, "Look, WWE didn't cut him because he was gay. It's because he didn't cut it. It's not good." Kanyon's already, feeling down about himself.
Right.
WWE sent their top guy and shit on him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They say that the Office didn't do that. I'm calling bullshit again.
No question. I mean, it's from Cena to Flair. I mean, that is the line that they are trying to tote there.
Right. Company guys, they were told to go do this job, and they went and did it.
Yeah. And I mean, this is late 2006. I mean, that's Cena's
it's like
the guy.
Hebner saying that he wasn't part of the Montreal screw job.
Yeah.
20 years down the road, we're gonna get. Yeah, I was told to go do it. So what?
Yeah.
Don't lie. Tell the truth.
Yeah, it's it really felt like that, and then especially it even cut deeper with Flair, with the setup of how big of a Flair. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm calling bullshit. All right. Here's the good stuff that I like. The Young Bucks, as much as our friend from Big D, Big D from Big D, had always said, "I don't understand the Bucks. I don't get it. Why am I supposed to like them?" I've kind of been on the same path the whole time too. I mean, the Bucks are what they are right now. They're over the top, being obnoxious to be heels, but the Bucks came off really good, I thought, here, and
100%,
really fanboys. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with this. Okay, I thought the Bucks came off good, but who really came off good? And I was aware of Brian Cage saying the certain things that he said, but never aware of the connection to Chris Kanyon. That Chris Kanyon helped train him a little bit. When he kept saying, "Who's better than Cage?" I'm like, dude, you're stealing Chris Kanyon stuff. Well, now we know why he's doing it. It's not a steal, it's an homage.
And how good was it to see some of these indie clips of a young Brian Cage there?
Oh, yeah, he was half the man he used to be. Kind of like a Stone Temple Pilot. Thank you. But it was nice to see it. It was nice to hear Brian just talking as Brian Cage. So, I was really happy to hear that.
Do you know something with Dark Side of the Ring that's really grown on me in the last few seasons? And I didn't necessarily get it at first, but I think it does add to, their vision in that package that they're trying to create, the graininess of the old clips that they show.
Yeah.
The first few seasons, the first few episodes, it kind of struck me a little bit as low rent. But as we have gotten into, as they've gotten into their arc and their storytelling, and it's typically contrasted, with their dark reenactments, man, I think it's a really, really effective combination.
Hey, and the actors that they have playing the characters, with the fuzzed out picture,
yeah,
they get somebody facially that really gets close a lot of time.
Yeah,
could be prosthetics. I mean, who knows? But
well, and really, what it does when you are seeing these old Nitro clips or these old WWE clips, WWF clips, it really, to me, gives the brain a sense of separation between that time period and modern day.
Right. All right. Well, unfortunately, again, 2010, Chris Kanyon had taken his life. But you know what? Now that I know that Chris Kanyon's his moveset, live on in, say, the Bucks or say Brian Cage, yeah, I'm okay.
And how great was that montage at the end where you saw his moveset transition seamlessly into that really great production from Dark Side of the Ring this week.
As sad as the story was, that was uplifting to know that he still lives on.
Absolutely.
Well, he definitely lives on, and boy, I wish we could have been Positively Kanyon, because that's also a book that he was putting in. Instead of Positively Page, when he was feuding with DDP, he had Positively Kanyon. Who better than Kanyon? All right, let's move on here. Matthew, you were a big fan of Kevin Owens 2.0 on NXT 2.0, weren't you?
He was my new favorite NXT guy. I can't wait for his segment next week.
Well, if he makes it. Here's the thing. Fox News, the New York Post published these articles with the headline, WWE pins woke left with a controversial new wrestler. WWE pokes fun at a woke left with a new wrestler. Apparently, Joe Gacy coming out and saying, don't worry, it's safe in this ring. You'll be okay. You can get some love. You're going to be safe, my friend. And then he hugged Cameron Grimes at the end. Was this a shot to the left? Did you feel this, or do you think that this is just them trying to stir the pot?
Stir the pot and just be contextual with modern day. I really, that's all that I took away from it. And at first I thought, okay, this guy's a heel. But then at the end of it, you have his hug with Cameron Grimes. And, there was no turn or anything.
Well, the love was going to the moon.
It intrigued me. And I wanted to see more. And apparently WWE is in the news now.
Well, they're trying to get a little buzz, because tonight, while we do have SmackDown, we also got AEW Grand Slam. Folks, your DVRs, make sure that they're recording both episodes, because it's hour 1 and hour 2. So check your DVR. Announced for the card tonight, 8-man tag team match, Santana and Ortiz and the Lucha Brothers taking on Private Party and the Butcher and the Blade. So Santana and Ortiz and the Lucha Brothers taking on the Matt Hardy family office. A trios tag match, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks against Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. A lights out match, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley taking on Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki. Jericho and Hager take on the Men of the Year, Anna Jay and Penelope Ford, and on TV for the first time wrestling in 7 years, CM Punk and Powerhouse Hobbs.
One thing I'm pretty sure of, though, my DVR is probably going to get the last few minutes of that movie where Ben Affleck is driving his vehicle across a bridge.
After Anna Kendrick opens up the painting to find another painting?
Yeah. That's I've seen that quite a few times. And I have no idea what the movie's.
Christ. I mean, I'm sorry I brought that up to you, but now you notice it too, and I hope the rest of you notice it too. For the love of God, play something else. And if it's the Denzel Washington movie where he's at the coffee shop at the end, I'm going to lose it. Let's talk SmackDown tonight. We've got 3 confirmed segments. 2 matches, but 3 confirmed segments. King Nakamura is going to battle Apollo Crews in an Intercontinental title match. Liv Morgan to battle Zelina Vega. And don't forget, you're going to want to see, don't miss the world premiere of Happy Talk with Happy Corbin this Friday night on SmackDown. For the love of God.
My goodness. Our pre-announced WWE cards versus our pre-announced AEW cards. There's a stark contrast.
World of difference.
There's a stark contrast.
Hey, let's talk about what's pre-announced for the pay-per-view this Sunday, the Extreme Rules, with only one match having Extreme Rules.
Let's we maybe, who knows, maybe we'll make up some matches and give them, some ideas and kind of go that way.
Oh, here we go. Here's Extreme Rules and the matches that have Extreme Rules set up for them. Universal Champion Roman Reigns versus the Demon Finn Balor. It's an Extreme Rules match. What does that mean?
Means that you can use chairs and tables and batteries and fly swatters to hit your opponent with.
Charlotte Flair will take on Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. Let's go back. I want to hear your predictions on what's going to happen in Balor and Reigns. Excuse me, Demon and Reigns.
Yeah, Reigns retains.
Reigns retains. There's no chance the Demon, due to interference maybe by Brock Lesnar, wins this match.
It's a lot more likely now than it probably was a month ago, because I think they are, to a certain degree, booking reactionary, and they could do that. The problem with that, Meathead, is you lose that visual of him and the Usos with the belts, and I think that is a very specifically crafted visual. And
they more just started selling the T-shirts.
Yeah, it's more possible than it was, but I don't think it's happening.
Okay. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Who wins this and who walks out champion?
Yeah, Charlotte. I don't think that. I see Alexa's character, and I don't think that character.
Alexa's character has fallen off in 6 months since WrestleMania. Done.
And there's not here's the thing, when she was solo as that character, you were always waiting for that other shoe to drop in the Fiend. There's no Fiend anymore. And that character just, I think it's still somewhat over, but it doesn't have that impact.
Pun intended. For the SmackDown Women's Championship, The Boss and Bianca Belair.
Don't think you take the title off of Becky. This is going to be hopefully our first actual, lengthy match with Becky since her return. I was skeptical of the heel turn right at first, but I think they've done a stellar job. And honestly,
she's looked like a super boss now.
Yes, and you've got to look at it. That's what got Becky over initially, was that heel turn. Her as a babyface. It wasn't bad. Though.
Her heel turn was never really her being a heel. It was just her being the boss.
Exactly. I think they're doing exactly what they need to now. I keep saying
the boss, by the way, and I mean the man, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think they, I think Bianca, especially with the crowd right now, Bianca's a lot better chasing, and I think you need to have kind of a second. Kind of coming up from underneath with Bianca right now that you've got a crowd. I mean, I was a little concerned as far as how the crowd reaction was going to be once she got back to live audiences. It seems to be there for her. I think that it does translate. I to this day still I'm not 100% sure what motivates Bianca Belair. And I feel like we got more of the same last week, where we're seeing her high school accolades and this, that, and the other. And I was hoping that you were going to get more of an invested, fired up Bianca Belair, because she feels like she's been wronged with her quick defeat. Now, maybe if Becky does cheat to win or something with this, you can get a little bit more of that fired up Bianca Belair, because I think that's really what you need to take that character to the next level.
Without Extreme Rules, I mean, it's just a regular match. But here's another match that has no Extreme Rules to it. United States Championship. Damian Priest defends against Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy won a match against Sheamus to get himself into the match. Your thoughts?
We're in an interesting period now with Becky, and also with this, and with Charlotte to a certain degree, where, these are people that have won these titles a pay-per-view ago. I mean, there is a possibility here that maybe Sheamus beats Hardy, never beats Priest directly, but I don't see Priest dropping the title here.
All right, that visual you talked about, the Usos taking on the Street Profits for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
I think you stay with the Usos, man. The Usos are hot. Listen to your TV each week. That was my big takeaway from SummerSlam, the big surprise this year in Vegas, was just how hot and how over the Usos are as a tag team. I think you stay with the Usos with these titles.
And then finally, Liv Morgan versus Carmella. We'll have to see if there's anything extreme about it. I'm sorry if I keep ragging on it, but I mean, seriously, the word extreme is on every one of these little pictures, and there's nothing extreme about any.
Yeah. The era of the WWE gimmick pay-per-view, we're a good decade in, if not more. Extreme Rules, Extreme Rules, which was initially the ECW One Night Stand, which was a freaking solid show for a couple of years, but this is what we eventually morphed into. And, same thing, Hell in a Cell, TLC, my goodness, give me Backlash, give me Armageddon, give me Judgment Day, give me, or take the freaking.
Hell, even give me Great American Bash.
Yes, you own WCW properties. That to me would be my ideal pay-per-view run. You have your big four, but then you also incorporate your October pay-per-views, your Halloween Havoc. The month ahead of SummerSlam, you do Bash at the Beach.
Halloween Havoc's going to be an NXT thing. I'm okay with Hell in a Cell being in October, but they shot their load early on Hell in a Cell in April?
Well, let me see a Hell in a Cell match every year and a half, and let it surprise me when it actually takes place. Let the storyline and the feud dictate that versus, it's October rolling around, we're going to have to settle this in a cell, and then you get something that really has not the end of a feud or the first match in a feud in a cell. And, those matches you mentioned, we've got, here's the thing. You've got AEW, and that is your relevant competition at this point, firing on all cylinders. And you've had your go home Raw, and there is nothing announced for your WWE title, your company title, the title with the lineage. There's nothing announced for it.
I thought we were supposed to have Lashley and Big E, and it's not announced. Like, it's been taken off. That was supposed to be the match, because that's why Big E was going head-to-head with Lashley, and that's why Lashley was hitting Big E with the chair. It's not announced.
Yeah, it feels, maybe we get it on SmackDown, but that's not the show they're on, but everybody's crossing over right now ahead of the brand, so maybe we do get that. But my goodness, and I think a lot of that meathead too is, I think that trigger was pulled a little bit ahead of time on Big E. Not that it wasn't a good call, but I think this is a different pace than they had laid out on the calendar. So, maybe at this point they're trying to, get a little bit more than a 1 week, 2 week build. But at that point, you're not going to do it at Crown Jewel, because most likely you're going to do Brock and
Roman
and Brock and Roman, but you're going to do Bobby and Goldberg there. So at that point, are you going on a 2-month hiatus with nothing going on with your WWE title? It's interesting.
On WWE.com's website, they did announce that Karrion Kross and Scarlett were engaged. Well, that's cute that you acknowledge that he's engaged to her, because she's not allowed to show up on Raw.
Maybe they have Beth Phoenix perform the wedding next week. That's another segment they'll book.
That's where we need to go. And then finally, off of the website as well, if you guys haven't seen this yet, there's a quick snippet for the Broken Skull Sessions Stone Cold interview of Seth Rollins. You got to see the jacket Steve Austin is wearing.
I can't wait.
You got to see the jacket. For anything other than Steve Austin is wearing a jacket like that. Holy All right, well, that is our week. We will have all the pay-per-view breakdown on Monday morning with Linda Kay. So for Matthew Thomas, the man they call Meathead, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.